When I read the news about Bon Appetit this morning, I couldn't help but think back to this tweet by Lindsay Ellis from January of this year. Here it is. So in case you don't know, Bon Appetit is a magazine owned by Condé Nast and runs one of the most popular cooking channels on YouTube with more than 6 million subscribers. For years, the test kitchen, where Bon Appetit's videos are filmed, was a predominantly white space. After years of criticism, they began to diversify and bring in some much-needed non-white voices. The person that Lindsay is talking about here, Hawa Hassan, recently revealed that she was paid just $400 for the 2 appearances she made on the channel, and that she would not be working with BA ever again. This information came out because one of the other people of colour in the test kitchen, Sohla El-Waylly, made a series of posts on Instagram detailing the systematic racism at BA and Condé Nast as a whole. See, editor-in-chief and obvious terrible person Adam Rappaport was caught in a brownface scandal, something that's generally considered a career killer, unless you're the Prime Minister of Canada. On Instagram, Sohla says that despite having 15 years of experience, including running both her own restaurant and the incredibly successful food website Serious Eats, she was hired at BA as an assistant editor on $50,000 per year, mostly to assist white editors with far less experience than her. She says that she was pushed in front of camera as a display of diversity, in response to the fans' pleas, while not being paid any extra for her on-camera appearances. In fact, she points out that only the white editors at BA are paid more for their video appearances. So, Sohla's dozens of appearances on the channel, including ones where she takes people through entire recipes, or develops her own new recipes, is labour that she was woefully underpaid for. Obviously, there's a lot going on here. The first thing that jumps out to me is that this is an accurate and sad reflection of where society is at the moment. You've probably heard the phrase, "A company's sole responsibility is to its shareholders." Under neoliberal capitalism, this is an important truth to understand. The duty of Bon Appetit, as a subsidiary of Condé Nast, is to grow as large as possible, raising the value of the company as high as possible, while also making as much profit as possible. Meanwhile, in a more progressive society, there has been a strong push behind the need for diversity in media outlets such as Bon Appetit. In recent years, people have begun to understand the importance of on-screen representation. So, a company wants to make as much money as possible, while also wanting to be seen as socially progressive as possible. The logical outcome here is to hire more workers of colour, while keeping their salary as low as possible to maximise profits. And that's what we have here. It's a disgusting and cynical deployment of identity politics. And it's particularly galling when you understand how much of Bon Appetit's YouTube success has been due to how successfully they've pushed the personalities of their presenters. They even ran a series of very ugly t-shirts, where a viewer could essentially pay fealty to the presenter they loved the most. Thirsty for Andy. Just a cool and normal thing to have on a shirt. This sort of attitude is reflected in the popular "I would die for Claire Saffitz" from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen Facebook page, and the Instagram meme page Meme Appetit, where the memes generally revolve around the idiosyncrasies of the hosts. One of the presenters, Priya Krishna, has even featured her father in a few videos, sharing his yogurt making method. As a result of his delightful personality, her father has become a sort of cult figure in the fandom, and it's pretty messed up to know that she, or he for that matter, wasn't paid for any of that. Another aspect of Sohla's post that I think is important is her detailing her salary. See, it's often seen as a cultural taboo to do so, and this is a tool of the ruling class. If workers don't talk to each other about what they earn, some can be paid less than others without ever finding out. This has been held up as an example of how the male-to-female wage gap is able to exist, women being paid less than men without ever necessarily finding out. Coming out and saying exactly how much she earns, which, considering the insane cost of living in New York, is very little, is an incredibly important act. In a wonderful display of solidarity, several other BA hosts have pledged support for Sohla and other hosts of colour, with some even going as far to refuse to appear on camera again until the other hosts are compensated fairly. Fans have come out in mass numbers to demand the resignation of Rappaport and fair compensation for the workers. And as of writing the script, Rappaport has just announced he's stepping down. So long, Raps, you won't be missed. But the battle isn't over. If you want to help, email them and demand that the hosts be compensated fairly. While this debacle has been an example of how identity politics under capitalism can be used maliciously, this is certainly not to say that identity politics are a bad thing. In fact, I fully believe the contrary. Identity politics are an important facet to build our understanding of the world with. All workers are having excess value extracted from them by the capitalist class, but Black, Indigenous, and people of colour face this to an even worse degree. Diversity in food is one of the most wonderful pleasures of life. Being introduced to new points of view on taste, cooking methods, and recipes is a way to connect with other people and other cultures in a way that most people couldn't have fathomed 100 years ago. Earlier this month, Sohla appeared in a Bon Appetit video to take one of the white hosts through making a traditional Indian form of pancake, a dosa. Almost each and every one of the top comments in the video is about how much the audience loves Sohla, by the way. Now, let's assume that just 10 to 20% of viewers had never heard of this dish. If that's the case, then Sohla directly introduced hundreds of thousands of people to this form of food. And I think that's incredible and insanely cool to think about. Sohla El-Waylly and the other BIPOC workers at BA deserve not just a fair salary going forward, but back pay for the labour they have already performed. And if you're a viewer of BA or just a decent person, you should support them in every way you can. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more. I've also included a link in the description to a video by Thought Slime on Black leftist creators you should be subscribed to. There are some incredible and vital voices in there that you should really be listening to. Thanks again.